Welcome, everyone, to the Avengenerds podcast, where we talk Marvel, DC, Star Wars, and more. I'm your host, Peyton, and with me is my co-host, Torrin. What's up, Torrin?
Hey, how's it going?
Oh, it's going good. I actually, just before we started recording, I just finished the finale for Brooklyn Nine-Nine, and now I'm empty inside.
Oh my goodness.
I don't know what to do with myself. But we got a good podcast for everyone today. We're going to be ranking all the MCU movies and shows up until, obviously, Shang-Chi. But first, we got the news of the week, and we got some pretty cool stuff for the news. I mean, we're going to be talking about some Emmy wins for Marvel, some DC stuff, a little bit of Star Wars stuff, and some a little bit of Mortal Kombat news. So let's start off with the Marvel news. WandaVision won 3 Emmys, which is I believe it's Marvel's first Emmy win, anything. They won for outstanding production design for a narrative program, outstanding fantasy/sci-fi costumes, and Agatha All Along won Best Music and Lyrics. So that's exciting. These superhero things usually don't get awards, especially at the Oscars. Emmys are a bit more lenient and fair with that sort of stuff. So that's cool. The people behind Insomniac's Wolverine game that was announced, what was it, last week? Yeah. They confirmed a mature tone for the game. So that's very exciting. I don't know. It's a little gray on whether they mean a mature rating or just the tone.
Personally, I think it should be both, because I don't know. I feel like Wolverine is one of those characters that shouldn't be toned down.
Definitely.
He's a very aggressive person with aggressive nature. So
ideally, it should have a mature tone.
Yeah.
Or not a mature tone, a mature rating.
Yeah.
Doesn't necessarily mean there has to be blood and guts everywhere, but that'd be pretty cool though. But they also probably want this to sell as much as possible, and a M-rated game maybe won't do as well. But at the same time, you have stuff like Call of Duty that outsells everything every year. So there's that. Mark Millar, are you familiar with Mark Millar or Mark Miller, whatever?
Yes.
He, in an interview, was talking about Marvel Zombies in the latest episode of Marvel's, or not the latest episode, last week's episode of Marvel's What If. He said that Marvel is looking to do a live-action Marvel Zombies in some form.
I would like to see that.
I am mixed. I wasn't a huge fan of the episode. Zombies aren't really my thing. I don't like The Walking Dead.
Yeah. Just for clarification, Peyton hates everything.
I don't hate everything. I like most things. I just
no. No. You hate anything that's not realistic.
That's just a flat out lie.
Superheroes are realistic.
Superheroes are not realistic, and that's why they're great.
I am a superhero.
Are you telling me one of my least favorite things any person can do is when if there's a character like Iron Man or the Flash or Superman, and they're going at some insane speed and they catch someone and they're like, oh, if they were actually going that speed, they would explode. That doesn't make any sense. I'm like, it's fiction. Calm down. It's not that big of a deal. But
that's true.
The last bit of Marvel news here, unless you have something else, but the Hawkeye trailer came out.
Yes, I am actually really excited.
I'm really excited.
I love anything Christmas. Definitely a great Thanksgiving / Christmas gift all in one, for Marvel and Marvel fans.
Yeah, I'm super excited. It's also very exciting to see Hawkeye actually getting, character development.
Yeah, and one thing I should note is that in one scene you can see an earpiece, so
Yeah, my
he's
guy's
probably
deaf.
get canonically deaf in the MCU.
Good. Now the
To show
question
that,
is whether he's deaf like now, like through some event, or he's always been deaf and they're just kind of retconning it.
yeah. So I want to see how they explain that.
I kind
Also,
of hope it's like a recent thing, because then it's like,
yeah,
I don't know, it feels kind of cheap if they were like he's been deaf the whole time.
yeah. I feel like maybe it'll be an explanation of like he got deaf when he was like Ronin during Infinity War.
Yeah, it'd be cool.
It's also nice seeing Kate Bishop
Hell yeah.
and her shot at Echo, who the actress is actually uh
Deaf.
deaf herself. Yeah,
Yeah,
she's
that's cool.
deaf and native.
Yep,
So
and she's
really
rumored
good.
to be getting her own spin-off series.
Of course.
I think it's rumored to go into production either early next year or like spring of next year, or something like that. But I'm very curious to see her character, because if she's already getting her spin-off show before the series is even out, then they're really confident in that character.
Yeah, because I know like she has tie-ins with Daredevil, in which there's a lot of rumors
And
around.
Kingpin,
Yeah, of course, Kingpin. So
who's rumored to
both of
be in
those,
the series.
I know a lot of rumors surrounding those characters. So hopefully they show up sooner than later. Um,
Yeah, but in the comics, I think she's Kingpin's adoptive
yeah,
daughter, right?
adopted daughter.
And
Yeah,
she's trained by Daredevil, right?
yes, yes.
God, that's exciting if they, go through with that.
So hyped.
So hyped. Um, let's move on to some DC news. We
Oh,
got our. Oh,
I was
what?
gonna talk about this. The Venom stuff.
I mean, we can't. I mean, okay, okay, okay,
Well,
okay. We can't. We can't.
I'm not gonna explain anything, but
Right.
I'm
We
just gonna
can't talk about spoilers.
but I'm gonna give y'all a warning about Venom 2. Uh, Stuff got leaked.
Stuff definitely
Post
got
credits,
leaked.
post credit scene, anything like that. So this is just a warning for people who are online and don't want to, go in with a fresh mind, seeing Venom 2.
Please,
Beware
God, do
online.
not go and look up Venom 2 stuff on Twitter
Yeah,
or anywhere. Just
don't.
even if it looks like a simple review, just don't look at anything. I mean, we're not that far off the movie. You could just wait a little bit. But do I regret looking at that at the leak? Probably a little bit. Yeah. I wish I didn't know about it.
It's fine. But yes, just wanted to explain that before we get into further news.
Although maybe I'm happy I saw it, because now I'm more excited for it, because the
Yeah,
last movie sucked ass. Anyway,
continue,
um,
please. Hurting me.
let's go move into DC news. We got our first look at Peacemaker. A little photo that James Gunn showed off on Twitter. It's just Peacemaker and his little team, which we saw in the last movie, just chilling. I don't know, having a meeting or something. I don't know, but I'm excited for this series personally. People are not happy he's getting his own series because of what happened in the movie, but I think because of what happened in the movie, that makes him a very intriguing character, and I really want to know where that's heading.
Yeah, because they didn't, of course, they didn't. 'Cause I'm pretty sure we're gonna dive into the mindset and more of the mindset and complexity of Peacemaker, because he's actually a complicated character to say the least, from the
Definitely.
comics. So definitely we're gonna get more of an origin story on that. We saw a little bit of his ideology in the Suicide Squad, but for it to have more detail, more depth, I'm really excited to see in the series.
Definitely. There was a very exciting, but also maybe not anything leak. It was a GeForce leak, and it had a crap ton of games. And one of those games was Injustice 3. It was I forgot what the actual title was, but it actually had a title. And GeForce actually came out and said that the leak was real, but all the games on there were speculative. So when they're making the list, they're like, these are the games that we think might come out. And people were like, okay, so maybe the Injustice 3 thing isn't real. But some people also pointed out the fact that it had a specific title, it was like oddly specific, and maybe that means that it has some merit. Because if the people that made this list presumably would have insider info, and they would have more knowledge than the general public of what's actually going to come out, even if they don't fully know 100%. So I think that the Injustice 3 leak is, I think it has some merit.
Yeah, for sure.
Although, if it isn't real, I hope that it's because they're working on that Marvel game that they're rumored to be working on.
Yeah, I want to see what that's about. I want to see more about that.
Hell yeah. Other than that, also exciting, Superman and Lois Season 2 has begun filming.
Oh, yes.
So we're going to get that relatively soon, which is extremely exciting. The first season was just so good. Tyler, whatever his name is.
Tyler Hoechlin.
Tyler Hoechlin, thank you. Is such an incredible Superman. He's killing it. Elizabeth Tulloch, I think that's her name.
Yeah.
As Lois Lane, in my opinion, is the best Lois Lane we've gotten ever. She's actually integral to the story. She's not a damsel in distress. She's confident. She's strong. I mean, she is such a great Lois Lane. And it's like Amy Adams could have been a good Lois Lane, but just like Henry Cavill, we just do not get enough of that character in that universe.
For sure.
But yeah, I'm super excited for Superman and Lois too.
Definitely one of the like probably the best shows to come out recently, superhero shows to come out recently. I haven't seen a good show like that since like Daredevil.
Definitely,
because Daredevil was like really, really good.
And if we had to compare it to other CW shows, a season hasn't been that good since like Flash season 1.
Oh yeah, for sure. And like earlier seasons of like Arrow.
Yeah, season 2.
But yeah, season 2. But this is, I really like where they're going with this. I want to see the villain for next season. We'll probably get that soon in a couple of like months.
I want to see a brighter suit.
You want to see a brighter suit?
I want to see a brighter suit.
I want to see that too.
Actually, the blue on the suit is kind of okay. I still wish it was a little bit brighter, but if like I want a brighter logo at the very least, because it's real dim.
Yeah, I feel you. I also want to see like somewhere down the line, I do want to see like more Superman, like evil Superman. Like, what if we get like a crime syndicate Superman in a way? We kind of got that, but I still want to see other versions of Superman in the show. Like, what if we get Val Zod, or something like that?
That'd be sick. Although they would have to tread lightly, because if they just do the same, if they just copy the Flash formula until season 4, of course, and just have a speedster every season, or have a Superman every season, then it could get tedious.
Yeah, for sure.
I want to see what a Brainiac would look like, but at the same time, Brainiac's in Supergirl, so
yeah, they did Brainiac and Supergirl, and they also did Brainiac and Krypton, so maybe hold off on that one. But
they could do a Doomsday.
They could do Doomsday, but I'm pretty sure that would be like
that's a lot
later on. But want to know who I want to see? I want to see Lobo.
Yes,
Lobo would be really good. Whoa, man, Lobo is such a badass.
I want to see Lex Luthor.
I do want.
I think John Cryer's Lex Luthor is underrated. I think he actually does a pretty good job. If they put him in a more serious tone show like Superman and Lois, I think he could be really, really good.
For sure.
Another piece of news is the Batman. I guess Warner Brothers is just super confident in the Batman, which is a great sign because it looks fantastic. But another spin-off of the Batman is in the works. This time it's the Penguin.
Really?
Yeah, so the Penguin's is supposedly getting his own spin-off series on HBO Max. Apparently, Colin Farrell is gonna return. I don't know. I mean, because the movie hasn't come out yet. Obviously, we don't know. Apparently, he has, like, most of the villains in there except the Riddler are like smaller roles. They're just kind of like, it's like the Long Halloween. I don't know. I mean, a Penguin series could be really good, and presumably based off of what we've heard of the Gotham series, which I think is called Arkham now, something like that. I think.
Not sure.
I think it got a new name, but regardless, I'm pretty sure it was rumored that the Batman takes place in Batman's second year, but the Gotham show is in Batman's first year. So I think it was rumored that we might actually be seeing Robert Pattinson's Batman in that series, and I think it would be cool if we also see Robert Pattinson's Batman in this Penguin series.
That's crazy.
We're gonna. I mean, it's really looking like it's gonna be shaping up to be its own little Batman universe, which is super exciting. Everything about the Batman just gives me Arkham video game vibes, and oh my god, I'm so excited. I'm so excited for that, man.
Can't wait to see Robert Pattinson beat more people up and say, "Let's talk." Talk.
Break people's arms. They're half away from death. No talk.
I know, dude. That's so funny.
And we're less than a month away from that new trailer.
Oh yeah, DC fandom.
Hell yeah! But
I need that.
That's DC news done. There's a little bit of Star Wars news. Just some Emmy stuff. The Mandalorian won 3 Emmys, just like WandaVision. Ludwig Göransson, the composer for The Mandalorian, also composer of many other things like Black Panther and the best sitcom in the world, Community, won an Emmy for Best Music Composition for The Mandalorian. So obviously well deserved. He killed that score in that show.
Such a great composer. He's so
incredible. Good. I mean, he's getting work as he should. The Mandalorian also won Best Stunt Coordination and Best Stunt Performance, and it also won Best Special Effects. The Mandalorian is, I believe, the first anything to use the volume technology, which is the thing where they use like the LED screens and they use like Unreal Engine and like VR technology to like move the camera within the virtual space, and it actually looks legit. And they've been so successful in that, obviously they just won an Emmy for it, that they're using it in other Star Wars shows. I believe they're using it in Ant-Man 3. I mean, this technology is going to be the future for filmmaking.
It really is.
Say goodbye to green screen.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, the future is now sort of thing. I mean, just with the way The Mandalorian looks, I mean, green screen can't really compare. It literally looks like they're on location. We got some miscellaneous stuff. Multiple sequels and spin-offs are in development for the live-action Mortal Kombat universe. From spin-offs of the Mortal Kombat movie. That's exciting. Personally, a lot of people hate that movie, and it's like, I get it.
Very, very, very cheesy, but really, really good with the fatalities.
Definitely. And I mean, it felt like Mortal Kombat to me.
Yeah, I feel like it's Mortal Kombat, but here's the thing. It's like, I'm a big Mortal Kombat fan, right? And after watching the movie, of course, you have like the recency bias hit you. But then I watched the movie like 2 or 3 times. After that, I'm like, wow, having their abilities as powers is really stupid to me. and I don't like how like the dragon mark is like passed down to people
Yeah,
because it's like it's kind of dumb. Also, I mean, then against Mortal Kombat, people can get revived. I just don't like how a lot of the enemies died. Like,
definitely.
Cabal, Kano, Goro. Goro, like, literally got, like,
He got annihilated.
he
I mean,
did. Big plot armor for Cole, aka Player One. Uh, Cole was all right. I mean, I personally didn't really care for him that much.
if we did
Uh,
the podcast back when it came out, I still believe the same thing I believed then. It feels like the first part of a trilogy. It doesn't feel like a complete movie, which is bad. But if it actually gets a trilogy, it could age really well.
yeah,
But
I can see that
I definitely get why people do not like that movie,
for sure.
because as a movie, it's not that great. But
Yeah,
I had fun with it.
yeah. For criticism, I understand it completely. I understand that completely.
Some other bit of miscellaneous news: Christopher Nolan has exited Warner Brothers and is now making his next film with Universal. Now, this is,
Hmm.
I mean, this is huge. Christopher Nolan's been with Warner Brothers for
Like,
decades.
yeah,
um, After Tenet and the whole streaming thing, all that stuff, and the theatrical release and whatnot, really left a bad taste in Christopher Nolan's mouth. He shopped around to many places. He even Apple, but I guess Universal was the one to actually give him what he wanted. And this is, I mean, for us, the consumer, nothing's going to change. Universal's probably going to give him full creative control.
yeah,
But I mean, this is big news because Christopher Nolan is obviously a huge director, and whatever he does, Tenet aside, because obviously it's a special case, they're big movies. So this is a big get for Universal,
Mhm.
and a big
Yeah,
loss for Warner Brothers.
yeah. I feel like Universal's actually like they're doing pretty good in terms of like movies. For example, like Candyman. I just saw Candyman last night. That was a really good movie, and they seem to have some really good movies coming up. So I'm excited that Christopher Nolan actually is partnered with Universal now.
How was Candyman?
It is actually really good. No spoilers, of course,
Directed by
but
Nia DaCosta, correct?
Nia DaCosta and
Directing the Marvels. That's exciting.
yeah, for sure. Also produced by Jordan Peele.
The legend.
It was actually really good, really good. I like how there's a little bit more lore to the Candyman, uh, you know, stuff like that, and it works really well as a sequel. It's a sequel to the Candyman.
Oh, it is a
I,
sequel. It's not a reboot.
no, it's not a reboot.
Oh,
It's a sequel to it. So I like that a lot.
yeah. I'm not familiar
It,
with
it, wor- it
Candyman.
works really well. It works really well. I personally think this is like a horror movie that wasn't really like horror. Like I mean, it's not horror as in like it doesn't attempt to jump scare you, Like
Right.
it's like right there in your face. But like as a person who's like as a film major, I can't look at movies the same anymore. Like I was figuring out like what lens they were using and like how they like did certain shots and scenes. But what really is good in the movie is the score. My God, that score is great.
Who did it? Who did the
As
score?
I'm not sure. I have to look it up right now.
Yeah, look it
I'm
up
gonna
right
check
now.
and see. Cause dude, it's like it's very eerie, menacing, and yet like hopeful in some way. It's really like it's really like really good.
Imagine it's Ludwig again.
Oh, it's Robert Ike Aubrey Lowe.
Is Candyman
Oh,
his like first movie or something? What the hell?
well, Candyman wasn't his first movie, but he's done other movies. Like it's called Miss Lovely and A Spell to Ward Off the Darkness. But I've never heard of his movies before.
Huh. All right. Well, good for him then. I imagine he's gonna get work after that.
For sure.
Um, you know what came out this past week?
What? What did?
If What if episode 6, correct? Um,
Yes.
yeah, let's talk about that a bit. This one is what if Killmonger saved Tony Stank during Iron Man 1. This episode was more divisive than I was expecting.
Yeah,
Um,
it was. I can tell that it's a really, really weird episode, and I'm gonna say this because like it. I'm gonna say it's weird because like how can I say it? It's like you never would think that Killmonger and Tony Stark would ever be together. Of course,
right,
that's the premise of What If.
right.
Um, but the thing is about this episode, I like this episode a lot, and it's really good because it's also another what if question in my mind is what if Killmonger won, you know?
Exactly.
So and also you can tell, like of course with Tony Stark like being saved and all that stuff, you can see like even like before all that happening, you can see how bad of a person Tony Stark is. Like
Definitely.
you definitely see that
He's
like
a
a little
dick all
bit
the way
more.
up through Civil War. I mean,
Yeah, for sure. But you can see it even without all that development.
definitely.
Uh, and you can see a little bit more depth of well, I could say his Killmonger's ideology was throughout Black Panther. You can see that through Black Panther, but it's just really more in depth in this way, and you can just tell the lengths he's willing to go through just to get what he wants.
The
You know?
reaction people had to this episode, the negative reaction, was nearly identical to the reaction I had for last week's episode.
Yeah.
People were like, it felt like rushed and whatever, and it felt, the tone kind of felt weird, and it ended weird and abruptly and on like this unsatisfying cliffhanger. And I'm like, when I watched this episode, I didn't feel that. And people didn't feel that for the zombies one, but that's what I felt for the zombies one. It's this weird
Hmm.
flip flop for me, and I'm like, I don't know what's happening. Like, people, I don't know. Like, I wasn't a huge fan of the zombie. People are loving that zombies episode, and I'm it's a fun episode. Like, there's fun moments, but there's just some stuff in that episode that I just cannot get around. The abrupt, excuse me, the abrupt ending. Just these weird tonal shifts. How some characters die, and they're like, they make a joke, and they're like, haha, let's move on. And then other characters die, and they're like, wow, this is sad. Let's take a moment to take this seriously. Like Hope, when she's like, sick or whatever, and she and Peter have that heart to heart. Great moment. But then you also have Ant-Man. You have Scott Lang watching his friend die to Scarlet Witch, and he's like, oh, she's a man-eater. You just watched your friend die, my guy. Like, it doesn't. It like, it was fun, but it was just odd, and that's probably my least favorite episode of the series. But this new one, I thought it was pretty good. I don't think it was the best one. The best ones are still Doctor Strange and T'Challa Star-Lord. But I mean, seeing Killmonger win, seeing Tony Stark not be humbled, seeing the scene where Killmonger's like, I like anime.
Oh yeah, sure.
I saw people were like Killmonger felt like different in this episode, and they felt like he like was written poorly, and I'm like, how? He's still Killmonger. His goal is exactly the same, except
Exactly.
he wins. I didn't think the ending was that abrupt either. I thought it actually ended on some sense of like, this universe can't continue, and we could see it in the future. And I didn't really feel that with the zombies one. Like, I felt like we could see it a sequel to the zombies one, but because the Watcher was like, and everyone died and the universe collapsed or whatever, it kind of feels like unnecessary. But this one feels like, oh yeah, Shuri and Pepper working together can create, a better future for this universe. Um, I mean, I thought some people were complaining about the scene where Killmonger kills Stark, and Stark is like, "We're the same," or whatever, and Killmonger's like, "The fact that you can't see the difference between you and me
Yeah,
shows
yeah.
that
Some people,
shows that you're blind or whatever." And people were
yeah,
mad about that, but I'm like, again, like that's so in character for Killmonger for him to essentially be like Stark's like we're the same, and Killmonger's like, but you're white.
yeah, and it's like because I don't understand how people like could think that Killmonger is poorly written because he's really not. But the thing with Killmonger is that he's essentially a simple like he has a simple ideology
A
but a
correct
complex
ideology.
yes yeah but he just goes about it in a very complex yet really wrong way. And I was looking at comments about it saying like how like Nakia had the same ideology as Killmonger, but she went about it the right way. She was
Exactly.
like helping the military and all that stuff like that, or like invading the military and all that stuff. The thing is with Killmonger is that like yeah, like he was a poor orphan kid in Oakland, and he never really had all that stuff, and he had to join the military in order for him to have a sense of power, because he didn't want to be oppressed anymore in those like orphan or those messed up neighborhoods. And so like I just don't understand when people are like, oh my god, like Killmonger makes it about race. And I'm like, well, because it is about race for him.
Exactly.
Like because
It's like people didn't watch Black Panther.
exactly. And it's like because of course Killmonger, he does want to help people that are like oppressed. And of course it's wrong in a way because he in a sense has the thought of like black supremacy or marginalized supremacy in a way. But it's like you can't really be mad at Killmonger
Yeah, it's
and
like
say he's fully
T'Challa
written.
literally said in the episode, like you're trying to like help oppression with oppression.
Hmm.
Like you're just trading one evil for another. And also saw some people complaining like they should have cut the episode because they killed Black Panther and it seems insensitive. But I'm like,
Like
I can
no.
kind of see where you're coming from, but at the same time, like we get the afterlife scene, and that afterlife scene is beautiful in my opinion. Um, I don't think it's that big of a deal. I mean, they obviously made the episode, before his passing. Uh,
Exactly.
I think it's a bit of an overreaction, but
Yeah. And I don't know, like I just don't really see like why people are getting mad at Killmonger. Like,
I don't see how people aren't more mad about last week's episode.
oh my god. I just don't see it. I can definitely see how people would think the episode's weird in terms of like the tone, because like I said, you could just never like Killmonger and Tony Stark. They haven't even like never met. It just feels kind of weird that they would meet in this episode of this universe. But um, I mean I digress.
I thought it made sense because in this universe, Killmonger's obviously has a goal and he's using Tony Stark.
Yeah,
And he said that he got the tip that there was an assassination attempt on Stark's life, which there was. Uh, and he came and saved the day or whatever. Obviously in Stark's eyes. He's a master manipulator, so it makes sense that he manipulated Stark into thinking like, "Hey, we're best friends" or whatever. I don't know. I thought it made sense.
yeah. I feel you.
Yeah, so I don't really get the hate on this episode, but it's a bit of a. We got through the news pretty quickly, but that's probably a good thing because we're gonna rank the MCU. And this is gonna take a while.
It is.
um,
So
so let's get started. The way we're gonna do this, we're gonna go from worst to best, and I think it's important to preface this by saying this is a favorites list, not a best list. If it was a best list, this would be a very different list. So if like what are the best MCU movies in your opinion is towards the bottom, don't get mad because it's not a best list. Like, for example, minor spoilers. If this was a best list, Captain America: The Winter Soldier, easy top 5. But it's a favorites list. It's certainly not top 5 for me. I'm sorry. But yeah, so just keep that in mind and don't get mad. So we're gonna be going back and forth, going from, you know, like, how many things are in the MCU now? 28. Jesus Christ. Okay.
Yeah.
So do you want to start?
Sure. So at the bottom of my list, not to say it's a bad movie, because I actually like some things about this movie.
Yeah, nothing in the MCU is actually truly bad, I don't think.
I just think that, you know, they have a lot more flaws and can be fixed a lot,
Right.
you know, more than others, but they're all pretty enjoyable in some aspects, you know. But at the bottom for me is The Incredible Hulk.
Same.
The Incredible Hulk. Should I continue, or like are you gonna say yours?
Nah. Well, mine's The Incredible Hulk too. So,
Okay.
yeah, you can go ahead.
Then for next one for me is Thor, the first one, the first Thor.
The first Thor, really?
Yeah,
Thor, the first Thor?
yeah.
Why?
Why?
Yeah, why?
All right. Okay. So here's the thing. You know, one would say Thor: The Dark World, right?
Right.
But here's the thing about Thor: The Dark World. I only have one problem with Thor: The Dark World. With the first Thor, it's just I feel like I just feel like it's all over the place at times,
Okay.
right? It's gonna take me a while to think.
Mine's towards the bottom as well. Thor, the first Thor, that is. But my second to last is Thor: The Dark World.
Okay.
Because I think it's just tonally just off. It's like it's trying its best to be like quippy and funny, but like it's tonally very dark, like visually. Yeah. I don't think the plot is very good. The villain is just trash.
Yeah, I feel you.
The Aether is kind of cool, I guess, but it's...
I like the Aether, and I guess it's because, like, with Thor: The Dark World, to me, is that why I like him a little bit more is that Thor's and Loki's relationship is kind of gets more established.
Yeah.
My problem with Thor: The Dark World is that it's Natalie Portman, the Jane Foster's subplot of the movie. That's kind of what throws me off.
Yeah, this movie is why she left until now, of course, but for, that's why she left, because she's essentially just a damsel in distress.
Mm-hmm.
And Natalie Portman didn't want that, so she was like, screw this noise. But now she's Thor, so obviously she's going to come back for that.
Of course, I didn't explain why Thor, the first Thor, is at the bottom for me, but like, because I haven't seen it in a long time. But after, like, because I recently thought about Thor: The Dark World, and I just put that a little bit higher on my list. And then with Thor: The Dark World, I do like the introducing of the Reality Stone.
Yeah, it's an important movie in the MCU, even though it's a word. I actually really respect Marvel for making it one of the most important things in like Endgame. It's like, yeah, let's go back to most people's least favorite MCU movie.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So what's your next one?
After Thor, it's Iron Man 2.
Why?
Why?
Yeah, why?
I personally don't like Whiplash. Because here's my list. First is the Incredible Hulk, Thor, Iron Man 2, and then Thor: The Dark World.
Okay, so you put Iron Man 2 below Thor: The Dark World.
Yes.
Why is Iron Man 2 that low?
Iron Man 2 fucking sucks, bro.
Okay, listen. My bottom 4 is The Incredible Hulk, Thor: The Dark World, Thor, and Iron Man 2. So
Yeah.
mine's pretty low too. Like I don't think it's great, but I
Yeah.
mean, it's better than Thor: The Dark World.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
No.
Okay, listen. Let me explain why Thor is there for me above Thor: The Dark World. I really like Thor 1 personally, but everything on Asgard can go in the garbage. I think it's really boring. But everything on Earth I really enjoy.
I feel you.
Like I think the whole fish out of water thing and Thor's like, another like I think it has some fantastic scenes on Earth, but everything on Asgard it puts me to sleep. And Thor: The Dark World, everything puts me to sleep in that movie. The only thing I really like about that movie is when Chris Evans' cameo as Captain America.
Yeah.
But other than that, I'm like, I'm not a huge fan of this. But yeah, Thor actually can find some enjoyment. And then it's Iron Man 2. I really like Iron Man 2. As far admit it's at the bottom because I find other movies to be more enjoyable, but I think it's enjoyable. I don't think it's a great movie. There's a couple of scenes in Iron Man 2 that are my favorite. Just in the MCU.
The scene I like the most in Iron Man 2 was when in the racetrack and he's suiting up and has a briefcase.
Right.
That's my favorite thing. That's my favorite
that scene. And probably my favorite scene in that movie is the courtroom scene towards the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
I love that scene. I love that scene. Stark just schools Hammer and how Rhodey's introduced, and it's Don Cheadle for the first time. He's like, "Yeah, it's me. Get over it. Let's move on." How on the news, what's his name? The senator. He's like, "Screw you, Stark." I think that scene's fantastic. Obviously, the race car scene's great. Justin Hammer is just a delight. The whole sequence where he's like naming all his weapons, like the ex-wife and stuff, and Rhodey is just not impressed. I think
yeah, for sure.
I think Iron Man 2 has some fantastic sequences, and I think it certainly can like the worst part of that movie for me personally isn't actually Whiplash. It's actually the fight between Rhodey and Stark. It's just a weird fight. It's a weird fight. The music that's playing is what, Another One Bites the Dust. Weird choice. Black Widow's introduced in the movie. I think it's a great introduction. How she's, not Black Widow. How she's like, spying or whatever. But then in the beginning, it's kind of weird how Stark's like, "I want one," and it's like, come on. What's your next one?
So after Thor: The Dark World, it's Captain Marvel. And here's why it's so low. Not that it's a bad movie. Of course, it's just movies are higher, right?
Right.
Definitely a movie that's gets a little bit more enjoyable as you watch it more.
Definitely.
And I don't consider Captain Marvel a bad person in the movies, comics. We'll get into that another day. But I personally don't think the movie is that bad. A little bit more dry in terms of humor in the MCU.
Yeah, it's definitely drier. I think that's why on a rewatch, since you know what's coming, it's a lot more enjoyable. For me, I feel like these last 4 or 5, it's kind of obviously these are at the bottom. These are probably most people would agree these are at the bottom. It's about to get a little bit more blasphemous. The next one for me is Ant-Man and the Wasp.
Ooh,
this one for me is just painfully average. It's not a bad movie. It's got some great sequences in it. It's funny, but it's just I feel like it doesn't do anything that much better than the first one did. I don't think it's funnier than the first one. It doesn't break new ground, except with the quantum realm stuff, I suppose. we get more Giant Man, but we already saw that in Civil War, so it's not as impressive as it could be if it wasn't in Civil War. I just thought I came out of the movie, I was like, it was fine. It was fine, I guess. On a rewatch, it is better. Like most things are probably better on a rewatch, except Suicide Squad 2016. I don't know. I just thought it was so average.
Definitely, and that's the next one on my list is Ant-Man and the Wasp, and I can definitely agree.
For the same reasons.
Yeah, it's definitely like an enjoyable movie. It's just like not like, oh my god. Oh. And also the next one on my list is Ant-Man, because I feel like with the Ant-Man movies, they're important, yet they're like just like really really average movies, but they're still really really enjoyable.
Ant-Man's a little bit higher than that on my list, but we'll get there. The next one on my list, I think this one.
Don't say it.
What do you think I'm gonna say?
I don't know, but I know it's not good.
I feel bad because because all these I do genuinely like, but because they're at the bottom of the list, it feels like it sounds like I think they're worse than I think they are. I like this. I like it a lot, but it's a favorites list, not a best list. I'm sorry. It's Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
Dang.
There's a lot of stuff to like about this show. There is, but the highlights of the series for me is Walker killing that dude in the middle of everyone.
Yeah, I like that scene a lot. I like it.
And Isaiah Bradley.
Oh yeah, for sure. I loved Isaiah
but
Bradley.
That's about it for me.
Hey, bro.
It was obviously great seeing Falcon become Captain America, seeing the suit for the first time. Great. Awesome. I feel like Bucky wasn't in it as much as he should have been. I feel like Bucky was a bit underdeveloped. I feel like his storyline with the whole crossing out, names in his book or whatever was just kind of dropped. And then in the final episode, it was just kind of like, hey, I killed your son. And then they move on. I'm like, I feel like that should be a bigger scene. Agent 13 as the power broker was just kind of eh. The Flag Smashers, in their defense, was ruined by the pandemic. But I have to take it as it is. It's not as good as it could have been. The action sequences were great. All the action sequences were really good. But I just don't find it that enjoyable.
Yeah, I can understand that. I still think I still think it's a really good series.
Definitely, it is. It is a good series. It is. I feel like it's better as. I feel like it was a little bit tainted by the week-to-week thing. I'm an advocate for the week-to-week thing. I think it's beneficial for some series. But I think this series would have been beneficial if it was bingeable.
So after Ant-Man, it's Avengers: Age of Ultron.
What?
I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna say this. Right? I'm gonna say this. The reason why Avengers: Age of Ultron is so low, I love Ultron. He's a really good villain, underrated in my opinion. Well, people can say he's underrated.
Okay.
I just think it's the weakest Avengers movie.
Definitely, but like,
and you'll see why a lot of things are higher.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's in personally one of the reasons why. Because everyone in this movie was also kind of like, and it's kind of off in a way.
Yeah. I definitely in Age of Ultron, people. I mean, I'll get to it too, but like, everyone's probably at their worst in that movie.
Yeah.
Both character-wise and performance-wise.
Mm-hmm.
I'll get to that into more detail when I get to Age of Ultron on my list. But the next one for me is Captain Marvel.
Okay.
Yeah, it's above Falcon and the Winter Soldier because it's better. No, I'm kidding. I just enjoy it more. It definitely on a rewatch, it was. I thought it was just a lot better. I really like her and Fury's dynamic. I really like Ben Mendelsohn as Talos. I thought he was fantastic. I thought it was really funny. Probably the standout of the movie and probably the best thing about the movie. Um, I get a big reason why people probably don't like the movie is the way Nick Fury lost his eye.
Mm.
I get it, but I'm not that
Yeah.
bothered by it personally.
Yeah.
I don't know. I find it enjoyable. I don't know.
Yeah, I definitely agree.
Um, I think you're one ahead of me, so I'm just gonna go again.
All right, yeah, yeah,
Um,
for sure.
the next one is I can't tell if this is gonna be controversial or not. It probably is. It definitely is. It's Black Panther.
Mm.
Yeah, I don't find this movie enjoyable. Culturally, I respect it. As far as the writing goes and as far as the villain goes, I respect it. I just don't enjoy it. I don't. I don't think it's that fun to watch. Uh, which is unfortunate. Like I want to like it more. I really do. But I just something I don't know. Something about it I just don't enjoy maybe as much as I should have.
Yeah.
Um, I think it's overrated. Again, this is a favorites list. If this was the best list, it wouldn't be much higher because I don't think it's that great. I don't know. I think it's overrated. I think people, again, culturally incredible, but as a movie, I don't think it's that great. He's just fighting a villain version of himself. Although Killmonger's motives are fantastic, he's a great villain. I just don't think. I don't know. I don't know. I know you think it's overrated too.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
don't think
I
you.
definitely think.
I don't think you think it's as overrated as I think it's overrated.
Yeah.
It's like I don't know where it is on your list, but personally, yeah, I don't enjoy it like that.
Uh, okay. So
Oh no!
after Avengers: Age of Ultron,
Oh no!
it's Black Widow.
Come on! Come
Black.
on!
Okay. It's
I thought we were brothers
no,
in
no.
arms in liking this movie more than other people.
Oh yeah. I definitely like this movie. I definitely like it. But here's the
Less than
but.
Iron Man 3?
Oh no. Iron Man 3 is higher. It's higher on this list.
Why?
Iron Man 3 is great.
I agree, but I think but Black Widow's better.
Mm, mm.
Come on. Okay,
No.
explain.
For Black Widow, I think it's a really good movie because it introduces, like, of course, Black Widow. I feel like this should have been the second Black Widow movie in the MCU.
I agree, but I feel like it's unfair to judge it that way.
No. Here's the thing. I'm also going to say this. The movies I'm reading are off my letterbox list. All right.
Okay.
So this is also my favorites list. It
Right.
Like I said, all these movies are enjoyable to me, and whenever like the ranking to them is like it like it's not like it's kind of like because it's lower, I don't find it enjoyable. Because a lot of these movies I find enjoyable. But also
But come on, what is with
no
this tension? Come on, I mean,
no, look, you're gonna disagree with me on this
oh, I'm hurt.
because of Black Widow let down Taskmaster. Here, and look, I'm gonna say this, all right? I have no problem with Taskmaster being a woman. People hate that reason. I hate that. I hate that reason. Taskmaster's a woman. I don't care. I think Taskmaster is really cool. At first, when I watched the movie, at first I thought that it was kind of balanced for Taskmaster, but now I think about it, kind of underused a little bit. And I just don't like the fact that I wish the one thing they added in the movie was Taskmaster training the widows. That's what I wanted to see. And I also don't like the fact that Taskmaster is a mindless, non-spoken zombie.
Here's why I
because of,
don't have
her
an issue
dad.
with Taskmaster. I agree that they're a little underused in the
Hmm.
movie. I get
Yeah.
that, but why I'm not annoyed is because they didn't really make Taskmaster female. Like it's Taskmaster, but it's not. I forget the actual character's name.
Yeah.
Masters.
Yeah. Tony
Yeah,
Masters.
Tony Masters. It's not. It's not him. So I'm
Yeah, I
not.
know.
So I'm like, okay, if they made him Tony Masters and that's the version that we got in Black Widow, then I'd be annoyed. But
Hmm.
because it's Dreykov's daughter, and I'm just not bothered by it. I feel like Masters could come down the line later, new and
Hmm.
improved.
Yeah, I can definitely see them getting Taskmaster, like bringing Taskmaster in as like Tony Masters.
Right. I just think it works in the context of the story, and
Okay.
I mean maybe they could have um, uh, still used that character and maybe just not called it Taskmaster. But I feel like if you think that changing the name of the character automatically improves the movie, I think that's weird because
No.
then you're not judging it by how good the movie is. You're just annoyed
Mm.
that a character is not the way you wanted it to be from the comics.
Yeah, for sure.
And it,
I'm all for a change. Like I said, like I'm all for change. It's probably me saying this is probably hypocritical to my point, but like I'm all for like change, and I think it's fine. But yeah, and like you brought the point that I will now consider that like with this version, Taskmaster, it works well with the story, the context of the story.
and
So you
even
brought up a good point.
and I also take issue with a lot of people's complaint that it's like, well, this movie's bad because the villain is weak. Either Taskmaster or Dreykov or a combination of both. And I'm like, I get that because Dreykov is a bit of a weak villain. He's very stereotypical James Bond kind of villain, like I'm
Yeah.
evil, whatever. Um, but Marvel movies have had like 80% of these movies have bad villains, and no one really cares that much. And but all of a sudden, we get this villain who admittedly is a weaker villain, but I would argue that it's still better than a lot of the stuff we got in Phase One. And people love those movies, but this one's trash because of it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't get that.
Definitely.
Um, let's like I'm next, right? I think I'm
Yeah.
next. This one might be controversial, but I feel like I have a good reason for it. Iron Man 1.
Interesting.
Um, because this movie is the blueprint. It sets the bar.
Okay.
If it's if it's better than Iron Man, then obviously, or if it's more enjoyable, I guess in this case, then obviously it's going to be above Iron Man. If it's not as enjoyable as Iron Man, then it's going to be below Iron Man.
Mhm.
And there's just so much good stuff in the MCU that Iron Man is placed this low just kind of out of circumstance.
Yeah.
Um, it's again, like I said, it's the blueprint. It's classic Stark. He's quipping, whatever. It's enjoyable. The villain is just a villainous version of the hero. It's a classic story. You can't go wrong with it, and it's enjoyable. But I think there's more enjoyable movies in the MCU. Granted, again, this is a favorites list. There are going to be worse movies above this one, but that's because I enjoy them more.
Mm.
You know, so yeah, Iron Man. That's why Iron Man is so low.
Yeah. Okay. I understand. The next movie on my list after Black Widow is Endgame. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
I was about to say. Also,
No, it's Black Panther.
okay, okay, so we're
Yeah.
not that far off then.
Yeah, no. It's Black Panther. Um personally, I agree with all the reasons you said. Um personally, I culturally is a good movie, but I think it's a very like average Marvel movie.
It got
Some
nominated
people.
for Best Picture at the Oscars. That's ridiculous. I'm sorry. That's just dumb.
um, I of course, there's some things I like about it. I like Michael B. Jordan, Killmonger. Of course, I love Chadwick Boseman as Black Panther. Um, I like how it was. I mean, I like the visual effects of the movie, but I mean, I just think it's really average. There's a lot better Marvel movies out there,
Agreed.
Marvel MCU movies out there. So yeah, I really have nothing much to add on because I agree with everything you said.
Yeah, definitely. All right, let's pause here for a second. Let's make sure we're in the same spot. Where are you on your list?
I'm at the third row.
Third row.
I
Which?
mean, yeah, but I'm at the third row for the second movie.
Okay, cool. All right, cool. All right, then let's resume. Okay, the next one on mine is Iron Man 3.
Okay.
I really like this movie. I find it really enjoyable. It's definitely worse than Iron Man 1, but I do find it more enjoyable. I think this movie only gets better with age.
Yeah.
Uh, I think the Mandarin twist, while I get why people don't like it, I think it's kind of genius. How they use Americans and the Westerns' assumptions of what a terrorist would be. This generic Middle Eastern looking dude.
Hmm.
And it's like obviously that's the bad guy. Why wouldn't it be? But in reality, it's a white guy. I um I mean, yeah, I think it's really good. I think it's really fun. It's definitely a Shane Black movie. If you don't like his vibe, then I mean, I guess you wouldn't like the movie. But yeah, I think it's just really fun.
For me, and then for the next one is Iron Man 3. Iron Man 3 over Black Panther for sure. Um, like I said, I really nothing to add. Because I agree with everything you just said. But I did like um Extremists a lot. I like the Extremists plot points.
Yeah,
That's really good. I wish Tony had made a suit out of the Extremists, but it's fine. But like I said, I have nothing else to say because I agree.
all right. So the next one on my list is Ant-Man 1.
Okay.
Um, I think this is I think this is underrated. I really do. It's certainly your standard MCU movie. Again, heroes fighting a villain version of himself. But I think it's just fun. It definitely has that Edgar Wright blueprint on it that the second one definitely didn't have, and I feel like that was kind of a detriment to that movie.
Yeah,
I think it established everyone in that movie well. I don't know. I think it was just a really fun, enjoyable movie. Paul Rudd is just infectious. But I mean, yeah, like the fight in Cassie's room, and that train hits Yellow
the
Jacket.
train.
I mean,
That's funny
just great creative action sequences. I think more people should see this movie.
for sure. The next one on my list is Iron Man, and here's why I like Iron Man. Why Iron Man's higher than Iron Man 3. Uh, like you said, it's the blueprint, and that's exactly why I like the blueprint. Um, I find it really really enjoyable. The scene with him and Yinsen,
Mm-hmm.
I can't. I feel like that
Yinsen.
whenever I rewatch it, yeah, yeah, I feel like that hits a lot harder.
Right
Whenever I
now,
rewatch a movie,
after Endgame,
yeah,
definitely.
and for me, um, I like the also unpopular opinion. Well, not unpopular, but I do like Terrence Howard's Brody because I feel like with both Don Cheadle and Terrence Howard's like Brody, they're both like two sides of a coin. I like Terrence Howard's Rhodey because it's like he has that charisma and he has that swagger, you know. I do like his Rhodey.
Do you like him more than Don Cheadle?
Oh, definitely no, no, no.
Yeah, I think he
I
sucks.
think
No, I'm kidding. I
I
thought he was
think
fine.
I just think for me, like to compare Don Cheadle and Terrence Howard would be unfair because we only saw Terrence Howard for like one film.
Right.
But definitely is Don Cheadle over Terrence Howard in terms of like playing the character. Um, but also I do like the ending of Iron Man, of the final battle in Iron Man 1, you know, Ironmonger and Tony Stark. I think that's really, really good. I like that a lot.
I think the most impressive thing about Iron Man is that it still holds up
It really does.
in
It does
every
hold up a
aspect
lot.
of the movie. The humor, the action, and especially the special effects hold up. It's
Yeah.
think about it this way: that movie came out a year after Spider-Man 3.
Hmm.
And Spider-Man 3, I mean, it doesn't look bad, but I mean, comparatively, it I don't think there's no comparison. And it's obviously because just looking at the behind the scenes, it's the use of practical elements. I mean, that suit is real. I mean, they CGI over it, of course, but they have that reference,
Yeah, for sure.
and it just looks fantastic for 2008. I mean, man, if that movie, if you showed that movie, if you pretended like it didn't exist or whatever, and you showed that movie to someone today, people wouldn't bat an eye.
Honestly.
Yeah, it's great. The next one on my list is Avengers: Age of Ultron.
Okay.
This movie, again, like similar to Iron Man 3, gets better with age.
Sure.
I think this one's just fun. I think you're right. The Ultron is definitely underrated, although I do wish he wasn't as jokey.
Yeah, for sure.
James Spader is such a perfect cast for that character. Uh, I get the decision to make him sort of quippy because the Tony Stark element to it,
Yeah.
but it just makes him a bit less menacing. The whole Widow Banner storyline is just kind of weird and forced, and I don't really.
Yeah, I feel you.
But the movie's just so fun. I mean, again, similar to Iron Man 2, not great, but it has some of my favorite sequences in the entirety of the MCU. The whole scene where they're trying to lift Thor's hammer.
Yeah, that was really that
I
was
God,
really funny.
I adore that scene. The scene where Vision gives Thor his hammer, hilarious.
That's funny as hell.
The scene where this is all kind of just like in a short sequence, but like the scene where Ultron comes in for the first time and he's like in that like super tattered iron whatever suit, and he's like, "No strings on me" or whatever.
Definitely some great quotes from Ultron.
So good. Um, the introduction to the Maximoff twins were great. I love the hallucination sequences for each of the characters. I love that stuff. I love mental psychological stuff, which is why a certain series is going to be very high on this list.
I
But
I love that sequence, but I want to know, what did Hulk see? That's the question I'm trying to figure out. I figure out what did Hulk see?
I'm trying to remember if it was like a deleted scene. I don't think it was. There was a little bit of extra stuff with Hulk, but I think it was just him like running through a city. Um, but it was such a I mean, and obviously the Hulkbuster Hulk fight, fantastic. I
Hmm.
mean, that's just a great movie, and there it's I say it's underrated, but the more and more I see people talking about the Avengers movies, the more I see, and I think it's just because just younger people having more of a voice, and obviously when we grew up, like when the Avengers came out, the first one, game changing.
Yeah,
But now that people younger than us are getting a bit older, I see a lot of people saying that Age of Ultron is better than Avengers 2012.
for sure.
And I understand, I can get why, I disagree, but I can definitely see that, and I think it's becoming less of a underrated movie.
Hmm.
But what's next for you?
Next, Guardians of the Galaxy 2.
Same.
Because like, okay, so here's the thing. I love Guardians of the Galaxy 2. I personally just think the first one is way better. The big problem I have with Guardians of the Galaxy 2, it's way too comedic.
Thank
It's like
you.
it's way too comedic. Because it's literally comic. It's like, okay, they have like this serious scene and they ruin it with a joke. I'm like, come on, bro. Like, be serious for like five
And
seconds.
it's like, I get it's James Gunn, but I mean, he's proven to us twice now with the first Guardians and the Suicide Squad. He can mix his movies, which are essentially comedies. I mean, they're just comedies through and through, but he has this way of having that comedic tone while also keeping that serious tone to balance it out. And there
Yeah,
just wasn't all that balancing out in this movie except for Yondu's funeral.
yeah, for sure.
Um, like, I mean, yeah, in the first movie, and that's one of the problems I have with another one of the MCU movies, not a James Gunn movie. We'll get to it when we get to it. Um, it could get away with it if it was funnier, because
Okay.
okay, I'm just gonna skip ahead a little bit. I'm gonna talk into more detail when we get to it. But Thor Ragnarok,
Hmm.
easily one of my favorites in the MCU, easily. But my biggest issue with it is that it lacks heart, and it lacks that serious tone.
Yeah.
Um, uh, but what carries it is that it's so incredibly funny. It's
Yeah.
so funny, and Guardians of the Galaxy 2 just is not funny enough for me to not care about the lack of seriousness.
Yeah, for sure.
Like, one of my least favorite scenes is when uh they Ego meets up with the Guardians for the first time, and he's like, and he's talking to him, and it's like it's a relatively serious scene, and then he goes, "Excuse me, I gotta take a whiz."
Yeah, it's like, what the fuck?
Is that necessary? Like, really? One of my this was actually improved on a rewatch. I think I've seen this movie only twice, and I actually enjoyed this movie way more on a rewatch. If you asked me to if I made this if you asked me to make this list like a year ago, Guardians of the Galaxy 2 would have been a lot lower. But on a rewatch, I
Sure.
enjoyed it a lot. Like, for example, when I saw it in theaters for the first time, I thought that, you know, that runner with the fruit, and they're like, it's not ripe yet.
Yeah.
I thought it felt, when I watched it for the first time, it felt like that went a lot longer, but it didn't really. They did it like three times, and it was like towards the beginning of the movie, and then it was over. I was
Hmm.
like, oh, that wasn't as bad as I remember. But yeah, still a lot of the issues with that movie is just balancing.
Yeah, for sure.
Since we both had the same for Guardians of the Galaxy 2, why don't you go ahead and say your next one?
You, you ready?
Oh God.
Per,
Oh no.
no, no. I personally think it's not that bad, but I feel like this movie is gonna be a lot higher on your list. But for me, it's Doctor Strange.
Let's see. It's not that much higher,
Yeah.
but it is
And
higher.
here's the reason why Doctor Strange is like that. Doctor Strange is definitely like one of those movies. Like, it's just really enjoyable. I definitely think that along with Ant-Man, this movie is underappreciated. It definitely also needs more recognition because some people just didn't watch Doctor Strange and it shows.
Definitely.
But the reason why I mean, there's a lot of reasons why a lot of Marvel movies are higher. It's just because like, um, I don't know. I definitely feel like Doctor Strange is like kind of like like a middle film, like or it's like neutral film. It's a neutral film for me. It's like I don't love it all that much, but I definitely don't hate
It
it.
follows the classic Marvel formula. It's a standard MCU movie, but I think what carries it and what puts it over something like an Iron Man or an Ant Man is the actual mystical elements.
Yeah, for sure. It definitely brought in that the more the mystical, like, you know, the mystical arts into the Marvel
And a lot of
universe.
people say, and it's a fair criticism, that there's not a ton of it. It's just a lot of sparkly shields and whatever.
Yeah,
Um, that's fair, but at the same time, it's his first movie.
for sure.
I can't imagine what we're going to be seeing in Doctor Strange 2, especially after
Oh
Infinity
yeah,
War. I mean, whew. I mean, we'll get
I
to it when we
can't
get to it, but man.
for sure.
Um, are you ready for my next one?
What is it?
Oh, oh no. Here we go. Captain America: The Winter Soldier. Yep.
Oh my god, dude, why?
Because uh because I don't find it as enjoyable. We're getting into
No,
territory now where all these movies are so good. It's
yeah.
it's
Okay, look, and I don't blame you because the thing about Captain America: The Winter Soldier, from what I've been seeing, is that people are like, it's not as great as people make it out to be, and I can understand that, but it doesn't apply to me, bro. That movie is just way too good. It's way too good.
um it's great. Again, if this was a
Mhm.
best list, this is top 5.
Oh, for sure.
But I just don't enjoy it as much. Obviously there's incredible sequences, like obviously the classic, Bucky versus Cap fight with the knife flip and whatever.
Yeah,
On your left, I mean, anything the Russo brothers touches turns to gold in this universe. But
I know.
I just, compared to the other Russo movies, I think this one is the weakest, and I don't find it as enjoyable.
Okay.
I think there's a lot of sequences that have lulls, and even though I obviously really like this movie and I do enjoy this movie, and there's some stuff ahead of this that I think are definitely worse, but I just find more fun. This is like smack dab in the middle.
Okay. Understandable. The next one on my list is Guardians 1.
Wow. Not
I
that,
know.
not that. I mean, after you said you thought Guardians 1 was way better than Guardians 2, I expected it to be higher.
It's definitely not higher, but you'll see why other ones are higher. Um, Personally, this one was enjoyable. It's really really good. I enjoyed it a lot. Um, let's see. One thing I would say about Guardians, it's a compliment actually. And that also goes with James Gunn, with him in the Suicide Squad. James Gunn has a really good way of bringing characters that are not really known and bringing them to spotlight. That's what he did really
Yeah,
well,
it's like,
and
why do we
that's
care
why I
about
find
these
this movie.
guys and then we care by the end?
Yeah, it's really, really, really good. Um,
Like in the Suicide Squad,
Person,
I didn't care at all about Rick Flag. And
I know, and then dude,
yeah.
but I think it's because of the first movie though. The first movie, Rick Flag sucked. That's why Flag sucked in that first one. But we'll we'll save that for another day. But one thing I just wanted to see more of in Guardians 1 was more Ronin. I wanted to see more Ronin. Just a little bit more. A little bit more.
I
But
agree.
other than
Well,
that,
I think the amount of Ronan was fine. I just wish he was a bit more of a character. He was just
yeah,
kind of a bad guy.
yeah, for sure.
Um,
But overall, I think this movie is really, 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 really good for what it is. It has a seriousness because it's new characters, dive into the backstories, we'll get to a little bit more about them. But also, it's just enough comedy to where it's like it's not like jarring. If that's the correct word to use.
right.
Is it? Yeah. So that's kind of why I like it a lot better than Guardians 2.
All right. Well, the next one on my list is Avengers: Infinity War.
What?
Psych. I'm just kidding.
I was like, excuse me? What?
uh, It's actually Captain America: The First Avenger.
Oh, okay.
This movie, I
Oh,
mean, there's just so much heart in this movie. It's
you're
just,
actually gonna
it's
you're gonna
so
be surprised.
what I know it's really high on your list.
Oh yeah, it's well, it's not that
Um,
high, but it is higher.
I mean, yeah, like I said, this movie has so much heart. It's just so in Steve Rogers' kid-like wonder in this movie is just so infectious, and it's just you just can't help but love the guy in the movie.
Mm,
I, I don't really have much to say because this movie is just it's just so fun. It's just so fun.
for sure, for sure. Uh oh man, you're gonna be disappointed.
Oh no.
You ready? The
Yeah,
next the next the next one on my list.
it's Thor Ragnarok.
No,
Oh,
no.
okay.
It's Spider-Man Homecoming.
Really,
Yeah,
really,
Spider-Man Homecoming. Yeah,
really.
yes.
You know what? That's fair. I can see
Because
that.
it's because
Mine's
um
not that much higher for
yeah.
Homecoming.
The reason why Homecoming is like, kind of like middle right now. Um I think it's a good introduction to like, a new Spider-Man. High school Peter Parker will like
Something we just haven't seen before until now.
I know, right? It's really good and it works really well. And I just like the fact of even though he is under he's under Peter not Peter. He's under Tony's wing, he still tries to, gain his approval and do things by himself because he doesn't want to be trapped by Tony Stark and he actually wants to do good. Uh we'll get into that another day, but I'm tired of the complaints. I'm tired of the freaking Iron Boy Jr. thing. Oh my
Yeah, when
god,
No Way
people
Home starts coming around, we're definitely going to be talking about all the Spider-Man movies, and we're
oh
definitely
yeah,
going to be getting
we're-
to we're definitely going to be getting to those complaints.
yeah. Oh my god, I'm tired of that. But
So annoying.
whatever. Get into the next movie.
Uh, the next movie on my list is Doctor Strange.
Okay,
Pretty much
fair.
the same reasons that you said. It's just a bit higher because I enjoyed a lot. I really like Benedict Cumberbatch's Doctor Strange. I really like that character, even though he's the worst. Yeah, I don't know. I really like this movie. It's just enjoyable. So, your turn.
Really. Um, Next one on my list is Captain America: The First Avenger.
Hell yeah.
Definitely a movie I would say at times can be underappreciated. I think it's underappreciated out of the trilogy for sure.
That movie retroactively, because until I literally could not care less about Captain America until Civil War. And I know a lot of people's turning point was the Winter Soldier. I still wasn't sold until Civil
Yeah.
War, and I was Team Iron Man in Civil War. When I went back and watched this movie, I was like, man, this is great. This is a great movie.
Yeah, for sure. Um but yeah, I definitely after rewatching it, it has a lot of heart, and you can just tell that Captain America is a truly genuine person who wants to like help people, and he's never afraid to like put himself first. And I really liked Red Skull a lot more in this movie. Um, After rewatching it, of course. So that's my biggest thing about it.
Agreed. Um, Next on my list is drumroll, please. It's Black Widow.
Hmm. Okay.
Um, I really like this movie. I mean, like we talked about earlier, yeah, the villain is weak and whatever, and this is the point I wanted to get to when now that we're here. Um, the villain isn't really the focal point of this. It's not what you should be caring about, and obviously, I'm not saying that a weak villain is an excuse or it shouldn't matter. it definitely could have been improved. That's not what I'm saying. But I think the family elements in this movie were so good. I thought Yelena and Natasha and Red Guardian and what was her name? What was the mom's name? Melina?
Yeah,
I thought their dynamic was fantastic. I thought they
for
worked. I
sure.
thought they worked super well, especially Yelena and Natasha. I mean, that runners in movies are extremely hit or miss for me. It's really funny or it gets tiresome after a while.
Yeah,
Like the Guardians of the Galaxy 2 one with the ripe fruit. The whole "you're a poser" runner throughout the whole movie is so good. It's
it's
so
so
funny.
funny.
It's so funny. Um, Obviously, for me, it's like it's the most little random things that get me in movies, and like we referenced earlier, what is with this tension? It's
Yeah,
just so funny to me. It's just, it's just such an enjoyable movie. I like. I saw some people complain that they wish it delved into more of her origin story a bit, but I feel like we didn't really need that. We got it. We've gotten it described. We got in this little flashback sequences. I don't think it was that necessary. Would it have been cool? Sure, but I don't think it was necessary. I just I don't. I feel I just there's very little times where I can't wrap my head around why people don't like a certain thing, and this is one of those few times where I'm like, I don't see why people don't like this movie as that much, and I can't help but feel like a lot of that has to do with their bias towards Taskmaster, and
sorry.
um, you're reasonable. You're a very reasonable person, so you don't count. But a lot of people just, I think they just see that one thing and they're blind to the rest of the movie, and I don't think they judge it fairly. Yeah, I don't think it's. I think it's sort of a similar thing with Captain Marvel. How a lot of people see it. Well, not a lot of. It's seen sort of the outside looking in, like it's the worst movie because of like the audience score. But in reality, that movie, most people like that movie. The only reason it has a quote rotten audience score on Rotten Tomatoes is because it was review bombed by
True.
just disgusting people, and by people I mean men. Uh, it's not people enjoy. If you look at the cinema score, it's just as high as any of the Marvel movies.
True.
And I feel like for Black Widow, I think there's just a lot of bias getting in the way of people liking this movie. I feel like I just went on a mini rant. I'm sorry. I just have
It's
a lot of
fine.
strong feelings about this movie because I think it's great and underrated.
Fair, fair.
What's next
The
for
next,
you?
the next on my list is the Avengers.
2012? Same.
Yep. Yeah, definitely. Definitely a really good movie. You know, with the setting up of the famous team. Loki was done really well in this movie too.
So good. What a great follow-up to his performance in Thor 2. Like,
Honestly. And then you have that, and you have what hit hardest for me was Coulson's death. That hits hard.
hurted.
Really did hurt it. But I had nothing else to say about this movie other than it was really well. But we also had a conversation one time about the cinematography.
Yeah,
how
people saying it
was
looks
a
like
TV show.
like a TV show, which makes sense considering Joss Whedon's background. You, Joss Whedon. Which makes sense, and I get that complaint, and I can't really unsee it now, but it doesn't hurt my enjoyment of the movie. I can still quote so much of this movie. I've seen it so many times.
Yeah, for sure.
But I mean, yeah, a game show. I remember before this movie came out, it was like 2010 or 2011. And we were like, what, 10 or 11 years old. And I remember I was at dinner with my parents. We were out somewhere, and I thought I was the smartest kid in the world, I was like, Ma, Dad, and my mom and dad are dorks, so they kind of understand this stuff. I'm very lucky to have parents like that. I was like, Ma, Dad, we got a Hulk movie, we got an Iron Man movie, we got a Thor movie, and we're getting a Captain America. We're totally getting the Avengers. I'm calling it now. We're getting an Avengers movie. And the Avengers movie was totally like already filming then. It was already announced. Like it was happening, and I was just like, this is totally happening, because I'm like 10 years old. I'm like, I'm not on the internet. But yeah, I thought it was the smartest kid in the world. And when it came out, obviously a huge game changer. Just seeing all those heroes together. I mean, it's like at the time it was like, nothing can get better than this. This is the peak. And of course, I mean, we certainly got more than that.
For sure.
Yeah. So what's next for you?
The next for me, we were doing shows, right?
Yes.
All far. Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
Why is it so high? That show's trash. Like I said earlier. Just kidding.
It's not.
Just kidding.
But you want to know the main reason why I like it so much?
What?
Not because, okay, so yeah, of course it's nice seeing a little bit more, like it dives into the of course, like the racial aspect of Sam becoming Captain America, and also
I'm so happy they did that.
I know, I like that too. Other people didn't like it, and we know what type of people those people are.
Falcon and the Winter Soldier wasn't about race. Stop putting race into everything.
Episode 5, freaking literally Isaiah Bradley confirms it, as has been hinted heavily implied throughout the series. Not only do they like go into about that, more into Bucky and how like he lives with that, guilt.
Right.
I liked John Walker. I liked him a lot.
John Walker's fantastic. I mean, obviously as a person, trash, but as a character, so
really,
good.
really, really great, complex character. So like he is an onion. So many layers around his character.
He is indeed an ogre.
An ogre what?
Because ogres are like onions. They have layers.
That's true. But that's the reason why I like this show so much.
How'd you feel about Power Broker?
It's whatever.
Yeah.
Don't really care about Sharon Carter that much.
I think the best course of, if I was Kevin Feige, personally, I am Kevin Feige. Personally, I would make her a Skrull and have the real Agent Carter, I don't know, somewhere else.
I can see that.
Because I get why she's mad, and she has every right to be mad, but it just feels weird. It doesn't.
It doesn't. It just doesn't feel like right.
And I don't really, of course, buy her as a villain. And it's also, we haven't really gotten enough of her to feel like oh, this is a big twist.
Yeah, for sure. Oh yeah, it's your turn.
Am I next? Let's see. We did Avengers 2012. Mine was also Avengers. Okay. Mine is Spider-Man: Homecoming.
Okay.
Yes. Certainly not at the top. There's just so much good stuff now.
Yeah.
But this is probably one of, if we're talking best, it's probably top 3 Spider-Man movies. This movie has my favorite sequence of any Spider-Man movie, which is the sequence once Adrian Toomes opens that door for Peter, all the way up until he enters the dance. My favorite sequence in any Spider-Man movie. It's just it's like action sequences, nah. The train sequences in Spider-Man 2, nah. Into the Spider, nah. That, oh my god.
But dude, also like when we saw it like in theaters, everyone was just like ooh, and like dude, that was
everyone was like ooh, and then we were like geeking out, like we were like jumping in our seats. We're like, oh shit.
Oh dude, that was, man, I want to relive that moment again, bro.
True.
All
But
right.
Yeah, you kind of got the Spider-Man Homecoming stuff out of the way. So what's next for you?
WandaVision. First MCU show.
Should have been Falcon and the Winter Soldier, but yeah.
No, no.
No, it was supposed to be Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
I thought you meant like the list. My bad.
Yeah, it was
But
supposed to be
yeah,
August 2020. But
that's true. But I think the show was really good. Kind of dive deep into the mind of Wanda and all that stuff. Really nice seeing Evan Peters again. Kind of fucked him over though. But we'll get into that another day.
I'm gonna get into that when I get to WandaVision.
Nice seeing Agatha. Agatha was really nice. And I liked it a lot. It was really cool seeing. Oh, also, but besides that, it was also nice seeing Darcy again. We haven't seen her since what,
Yes.
2013?
Yeah, 2013.
And also nice seeing Jimmy Woo.
The Woo.
Hey, the Woo, bro.
The God.
But I know. I love that. I love that. I like that series a lot. There's also, I have another complaint, but that's about the fandom. We'll get into that another day.
Yeah, we'll definitely get another day. That's a whole podcast within itself.
Honestly.
Yeah, the next one for me, Shang-Chi. Yeah, we're getting to top 10 territory, and it's like whichever movie is in this top, or show within this top 10 is obviously just great. Yeah, Shang-Chi just completely blew me away. I mean, we talked about this in length in our podcast, reviewing it in full. If you want to check that out, it's there. But just, I mean, yeah, this movie blew my expectations away. The action is great. The story is great. It feels familiar to the MCU while also having its own identity. I mean, just, I was not expecting much from this movie, and it ended up breaking my top 10 pretty freaking easily.
For sure.
I mean, yeah, because we already talked about this in length, I don't want to go into too much detail, but yeah, definitely Shang-Chi is right here. What about you?
So the next one on my list is Spider-Man: Far From Home.
Wow.
I think I think it works really, really well as a Spider-Man movie more than Homecoming, because
Fair.
like I said before, even though even though not Tony, Peter tries to do things on his own, he was still under Iron Man's shoulder in Homecoming, and now that doesn't happen anymore, he's so, like, I feel like that's just a way for him to mature. Mysterio was a really good villain. I liked the scenes with Mysterio messing with Peter and all that stuff, and I just like the way of the aspect of how emotionally and like mentally that Mysterio hurts like Peter. So that's why I like it so much.
Definitely. I'll get into my thoughts on that when we get to it, but I definitely agree. But the next one on my list is Guardians of the Galaxy 1.
Okay.
Pretty much all the reasons you said. I definitely like it, certainly a lot more than the second one. I mean, I don't even know what to say about this one. I mean, because like you said, it's bringing a bunch of characters that no one knows anything about and making you care for them. It's crazy how in James Gunn's debut with these characters that sound absolutely ridiculous, it's so good.
For sure.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really have anything else to say about it. So,
let's see. The next one on my list is Loki.
Same.
Loki, definitely the best show so far, out of the MCU. I liked the character development of Loki. Him seeing like himself die in Infinity War from that alternate timeline, that branch. I love the dynamic between him and Mobius.
Yes.
And then also I like the dynamic between him and Sylvie. it was really really good. There's some like relationship dynamic there, really really good. But also, not only that, but I loved Immortus, aka the variant of Kang the Conqueror, which will we now see throughout the
That's not
MCU.
Immortus. That's He Who Remains.
Nah, it's Immortus, bro.
No, bro, it's He Who. They said He Who Remains in the episode, so you're
No,
wrong.
no.
It's obviously He Who Remains. They said it. He Who Remains is a character from the comics. It's He Who Remains.
I'll get into that in another podcast.
I saw some
There's
people.
so much.
I saw some
There's
people
so
who
much.
were like, "It's not Kang. It's He Who Remains." So like, we were right. It's not Kang. Wasn't actually in the series. So
Exactly. People are like trying to get so technical, and I'm like, hey, bro. Like literally, it's a variant of King. So it's essentially it is King, bro. Stop being so dense.
yeah.
Um, since we both have Loki, on our list at the same time, the next one is Avengers Endgame. Top five.
Okay.
It's not high. The reason why it's not higher is because
They
Infinity
ruined
War is
Captain
better.
America's arc.
Nah, they didn't. Oh, of course. I know what you're talking
But
about.
that's obviously your reasoning. Or is it because
No,
Black Widow didn't get a funeral?
no, I'm not because
Is
it
it?
should have been
Yeah,
Clint.
it
It should
should
have
have
been Clint, not that.
been.
It should have been Clint, not that. God, well, there's so much that I have to say about the fandom, bro, and people's comments. Like I said, we're gonna get into that another day. But personally, I just think that this movie is, I mean, it's really good for what it is. A lot of fan service, a nice plot of going back to, different Marvel films, and um, getting all the stones. Really nice character development, further character development of more like Iron Man, Captain America, Hawkeye, Hulk, and all that stuff. It's actually really nice. And of course the final scene is something that I would die to see again in theaters. That was probably the best theater experience of my life so far. So
100%.
I can't wait for that.
Yeah, I'm gonna get into more detail about that when I get to it. But the next one for me is Spider-Man: Far From Home.
Okay.
Um, this one, again, if this was a best list, it would not be this high. There's just some plot issues with this movie that I just cannot ignore. How Peter is just in that bar unmasked without any,
Oh
issue,
yeah.
whatever. Edith is a bit problematic, and it's a bit weird. But I'm also extremely biased towards this movie because Mysterio is my favorite Spider-Man villain. And they did him so freaking well. I loved how his I loved how his villain suit, besides the actual Mysterio suit, is a freaking mocap suit.
Oh yeah.
I love
for
that
sure.
so much. And obviously the suit, the suit itself is incredible. It's like when they announced they were doing Mysterio, and it's like they're not going to do the fishbowl, right? I mean, that's ridiculous, but man, do they pull it off so well. And obviously the illusion sequences are just fantastic. And you're right, it feels more like a Spider-Man movie compared to Homecoming. And I also feel like it's the most Spider-Man-y we've gotten from Tom Holland, except maybe Infinity War.
Yeah. Well, actually, I feel yeah, Infinity War and Civil War, in my opinion.
Yeah, I kind of
Well,
want.
yeah.
I kind of want. I kind of want the Russos to direct the next Spider-Man trilogy because someone different is going to have to direct this next Spider-Man trilogy since John Watts is doing Fantastic Four.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to hit up the Russo brothers on TikTok and spam them on it
It's like, hey, can you guys? I know you're in talks with Marvel, so like, Spider-Man trilogy.
for sure, definitely.
But yeah, Far From Home is definitely probably my
Mm.
favorite Spider-Man movie. Maybe Into the Spider-Verse would beat it, but
Yeah,
certainly on this MCU list, Far From Home is definitely up there.
honestly. My next one after Endgame is Shang-Chi, and here's why it's so high on my list. is because I just think that it works really, really well. And it's definitely the best origin movie out of the MCU so far. Well, yeah, so far. Definitely the best right now. Um, for Shang-Chi, really, really nice choreography, which I like a lot. Um, definitely really great characters. Aquafina was really good as Katie. Nice comedic relief. Also has a really good set of flashbacks. Nothing that's like too over the top with like the relationship between Shang-Chi and his sister Xiaoling. Also, just Wenwu, aka the Mandarin. Oh, such a great villain.
So good. Tony
De-
Leung
de-
just killed it.
I know, definitely top three villains of the MCU.
100%.
And it's just also nice to just see like something that's catered to the POC communities,
100%. Um,
And
sorry, go ahead.
like you said, like in our other podcasts, is that it does a good job of catering to the Asian community, but not pandering. It's
Right.
not like pandering, and that's what's really good. I like this a lot. I like the movie a lot, and I definitely think the recency bias has fell off for me, but it's definitely in my top five for sure.
Speaking of Shang-Chi, in our Shang-Chi review, we kept calling Morris Maurice.
Yeah, I know.
We're idiots. But it still works. It's close enough, right?
Yeah.
It's like,
Oh
hey,
yeah,
Maurice.
yeah. Forgot to say that Ben Kingsley was really, really good. Nice seeing him again. Nice callback to Iron Man 3. Uh, nice, seeing Morris, cute little fella,
Maurice.
Maurice. But yeah, that I have nothing real else to say. So it's your turn.
The next on my list, and after this, we're getting into our top fours, right? This is our top five. But next on
Yeah.
my list is WandaVision. Uh, like I was talking about earlier, I love the psychological stuff. Um, yeah, the finale was a bit disappointing, but
Mm-hmm.
you
Yeah,
know,
for sure.
is what it is. I'm not gonna knock the rest of the series because of that. It was just so good. I love. A lot of people didn't like and couldn't get past the whole old sitcom thing. I
Yeah.
loved that. I've seen I Love Lucy. I've seen Bewitched, and I thought it was just fantastic going into Wanda's psyche like that, seeing the reality break around her slowly. Incredible intro to Monica Rambeau.
All right, for sure.
It was, I mean, sure, it was WandaVision, but it also felt like her show.
Yeah.
So I'm super excited to see her in the Marvels. But yeah, I mean, it was so it was such a great way to kick off the Disney Plus shows. Yeah, I don't really have anything to say. So, what's next for
Also,
you?
just wanted to say that they need to stop doing my boy Vision dirty like that, and they need to leave him alone.
True. Oh wait, yo, I was
Man,
gonna talk about freaking a Mr. Ralph Boner.
yeah, get into
Um,
that.
man, I was so hyped.
I know.
I was so hyped, and it's like even if they didn't go with the whole multiverse thing, I mean, come on. I wouldn't be as mad if it wasn't a boner joke. Like really, really,
I, yeah, I don't know. I
come
don't know who
on.
thought. I don't know who thought about that, but it's whatever at this
Yeah,
point.
that sucks, but yeah.
The next movie on my list, Captain America: The Winter Soldier.
Yikes. Just kidding.
Shut up. And I like this movie so much not because of the fight scenes, because like it's really nice seeing like Winter Soldier, really really menacing. Definitely him catching Cap Shields, one of the like hardest scenes of the MCU. Uh, and even though I'm not a political person, I like the politics in this like movie, and like I like the aspect of like, yeah, like you know, the government has like your identity and all that stuff. I like that a lot. It's really interesting, and it's something that like they kind of talked about in the comics a little bit. But it's nice seeing it in live action, so I like that a lot. And it's also nice seeing like Captain America, like, you know, finally figuring out like, you know, stuff, even after like, you know, he's been like awakened for like a long time. So that's really nice.
Yeah, I can't entirely disagree, to be honest. I just don't enjoy it as much as the other movies, but it's definitely one of MCU's best. The next one for me is Avengers: Infinity War.
Okay. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Now I'm intrigued to see. Oh, actually, I already know your top one. I already know. I already know it.
No, you don't.
I do.
No, you don't.
I do.
You don't.
I do.
You don't.
$5.
25 cents.
Stop being cheap. Go on.
Okay. So Infinity War. The only reason it's not higher, because again it's favorites list, is a lot of my reasoning when it comes to favorites list is, can I rewatch this without getting tired of it? And it's not that I would get tired of Infinity War. Obviously it's high, it's this high for a reason, but I mean, this movie is just very I mean, it's just a downer, isn't it?
It's what?
It's a downer.
It's a downer?
Yeah, it's a downer. It's like it's very dramatic the whole way through. Like obviously people are making quips, like obviously it's still a Marvel movie, but like I'm not trying to cry.
Understandable.
So yeah, I'm not trying to watch this over and over and over again. It's gonna be a bit hypocritical for one of the other movies higher on my list, but yeah, I mean, it's just not a movie I can watch over and over again because it's I don't want to say it's slow, but it's a bit slow for good reason. Mm-hmm. But it's a bit slow. So yeah, I don't really have anything to say about that. Obviously, it's top 4 for a reason. I'm not saying I can't rewatch it over and over again. Obviously, I can. Otherwise, it'd be, farther down, because it's still an incredible movie. But yeah. So yeah, Infinity War, number 4. Your turn.
For me, it's the next one is Thor Ragnarok.
Same.
Definitely the best out of the Thor trilogy.
1,000,000%.
Has a lot of heart, really, really comedic, but also still has like serious points. Something that Garden Soup didn't do, right? I also like the aspect of like I love Odin's quote of saying like, even if you had both eyes, you still couldn't see the picture, and
Burn.
saying pretty much telling him like, you don't need a hammer, like for your
Are you Thor, God of Hammers?
And it's like, you don't really need you don't need a hammer to like,
the hammer's only there to control someone. Your power, it's not the source of his power.
Yeah. So that was nice seeing, like a little bit more of like, the motivation for him being a better god. Nice seeing, Thor and Loki having more character development as always. It was really nice seeing that. Nice seeing Hela. Oh my god, great villain. Great villain. I like
and of
Hela
course the best addition to the MCU in the history of the MCU, and will never be topped. Korg
and Meek. The best duo ever.
I mean,
hey man.
Hey, take it easy, man.
Easy, dude. Taika Waititi, bro, it's amazing.
Um, yeah. I mean, that movie, like I said earlier, I think it lacks heart. It's like Odin dies, and it's just kind of like, okay. Uh, I mean, there are some okay moments as far as like seriousness goes, but the humor definitely carries it. And it was really odd because have you seen any Taika Waititi movies?
No, but I've been wanting to watch Hunt for the Wilder People. It's on Netflix, so I've been wanting, probably gonna watch it tonight after I'm done doing some homework.
He, um, well, generally speaking, he's really good at bringing heart into his movies, as along with the comedic stuff. So
Yeah.
it was kind of disappointing to see that was kind of lacking in Ragnarok. But again, it's still my number three. It's just the humor just carries it completely. But yeah, since Thor was also my number three, why don't you continue?
Second one on my list is Captain America: Civil War. Then again, like I said, I'm not really a political person, but I do like the politics in it. I do like the fact of, both sides like, hey, like, we should be our own people. And then Iron Man's like, no, like, we should have some like regulation, like, because people are getting hurt out here. Only after thinking that because some woman decided to shove like her dead son in his face. Like, dang, bro. Sorry that your son didn't make it. I sound insensitive, but it is what it is. Team Cap all the way.
Hell no, Team Iron Man.
No, stop.
Yes.
Stop.
Yes.
Stop it, weirdo.
No.
But also nice seeing Spider-Man. Spider-Man broke the internet that day whenever the trailer dropped.
My God.
Really, 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 really good. Also just the dynamic in the final battle between them. Or not the final, but the airport battle was really good. Also, just Iron Man learning the truth of how his parents were killed was really, really good too. And like the final battle and the final quote, or the quote's like, Captain America, you don't deserve that shield. My father made it. And then Captain America just drops it. That was really good.
Yeah. Okay. So I have a bit of a personal anecdote with this one. This Civil War was my sort of fire rekindling for all this stuff, and that really all that's because of Spider-Man. Obviously, I loved superhero stuff through and through since I was a kid. I mean, I watched Spider-Man 2002 just on repeat, but like I'd watch the movies and stuff like that, and I enjoyed them, but I wasn't really like, oh my God, I gotta see this movie, this is so exciting, or whatever, anytime like a trailer would come up. Like I remember when the trailer for Age of Ultron came out, I was like, cool. Which is also, that trailer was great. Anyway, also at the time, around 2012, 2014, Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man movies came out, and I was just not a fan at all. And it kind of killed my vibe for Spider-Man for years. And at the time, I was very like Spider-Man was always my number one. At that time, Batman was my number one, because the Andrew Garfield movies really left a bad taste in my mouth. Now, going back to those movies, I like them a lot more, but at the time, really killed my vibe. And it wasn't like I wasn't really on the internet at the time, so it wasn't like outside influences telling me like this movie sucks, Andrew Garfield sucks. I just didn't personally. I just wasn't really a big fan. But yeah, I was really like DC forward with everything, not DCEU forward. I still did not like it, but generally I was very big on DC. And then that fateful day, Captain America: Civil War trailer 2 drops.
Mm-hmm.
And at the end of the trailer, Stark goes under ruse, and Spider-Man flips in, steals Cap's shield. It's like a flip switch in my brain, and everything I loved about these movies and everything about Spider-Man came flooding back to me, and I mean, I'll never forget that, and Civil War will always have a place in my heart for that. I remember seeing the movie opening night. We got like the front seats, so we had to break our necks to look at the screen, but man, was it worth it. Seeing Spider-Man with the Avengers was just so cool at the time. Yeah, it just rekindled that flame for me for this stuff, and that flame hasn't died down since. And like I've seen this movie so many times, I can quote so many lines from this movie, but yeah, so that's Civil War for me. What's your number one?
Infinity War.
What a basic bit. No, I'm kidding.
Oh my god.
I'm just kidding.
But so really good at the crossover, you know, biggest crossover, you know, in the MCU. So thus far, or at the time. Really nice seeing, you know, different teams all trying to find a way to figure out what's going on and try to stop Thanos from getting the stones. It was also nice seeing, like I said, you know, Thanos for a long time, because we saw him in Guardians of the Galaxy. Actually, no, it was the
Avengers.
No, yeah, it was Guardians. Yeah, okay, I was right. It was the first Avengers. Yeah, but it was nice seeing, you know, Josh Brolin as Thanos. Really good. I was excited, but also reason why this has like a special place in my heart is because I literally saw the movie back to back, Thursday and Friday, and those audience reactions stuck with me. It stuck with me. Everyone was crying, everyone was cheering, but like, I just think it was a really great movie. And like I said, Infinity War is just better than Endgame to me.
I think it's kind of hilarious, the juxtaposition between the endings of both Infinity War and Endgame. How everyone is like cheering it with Endgame and stuff like that, and Infinity War it's just silent. Because everyone's like, "What the hell just happened?"
Exactly. It's like, it was just so crazy, and like I also love how, not the very ending, but of course, the way Thanos, like, you know, ends is like with him sitting. It's crazy, and the parallel of that. But Infinity War is in my heart a lot.
Yeah, so
it's in my heart.
My number one is Endgame, as we've established already.
I know. Yeah, I know.
Why you sound so disappointed?
No, I knew it. I knew that it was.
Yeah, but
Endgame.
you're like, I know. Like,
because
this guy's favorite is Endgame. Gross.
I know because I was right.
No, but I mean, the theater experience for this movie alone kind of just shoots it to number one for me. I mean, just unmatched. I don't think it'll ever happen again. Even though, I mean, obviously the MCU is still gonna go and they're gonna have, you know, their big. I just don't think, with the connection I have with those characters, I don't think I'll have another theater experience like that ever again.
Not until No Way Home drops.
Oh, you know, yeah. But Spider-Man No Way Home also doesn't have 10 years worth of storytelling culminating in one movie.
Yeah, you're right. It doesn't have 10 years worth of you know, culmination, but it has, you know, 14 years of Tobey Maguire, and, you know, 2 years in the legacy of Andrew Garfield.
I mean, it has 5 years of Tobey Maguire.
Nah, bro, 14. I haven't seen him in 14 years, bro.
Yeah, I mean,
I haven't seen him in 14 years.
It'll be cool, but
no,
it's not gonna. I just don't think it's gonna have the same impact for me in the theater
as
Endgame. No, I don't think it will.
It will.
Listen. I'll be very excited, but I just don't think. Listen, the entire third act, I was in Endgame. I was bawling my eyes out. I don't think that's gonna happen. I'll be hyped. I'll be like cheering. But I don't think I'm gonna be bawling my eyes out in the theater.
No, I'm gonna pay every person in the theater to make sure that they freaking scream and cheer. All right,
And I'll be with them. I just don't think it'll have the same impact for me.
and then I'm gonna ask Ant-Man to like go inside your brain and make you cry like you did with Endgame.
I mean, we'll see. We'll see. But yeah. I'm also a sucker for time travel
Yeah,
in
time travel is
movies.
really good. I like the time travel in Endgame a lot. I
Uh,
like
yeah. I think Endgame, personally for me, is just unmatched. I used to conform to the masses and be like, yeah, Endgame's my favorite, but Infinity War is better. But I think I'm just going to speak by truth. I think Endgame is just a better movie than Infinity War. I think it is. I don't know. I think it's a better movie.
now that I get the information I need, I'm about to break your neck.
Okay.
Fairness,
Wow.
but I respect it though. They're still really good movies.
Incredibly good movies. But yeah, that's our MCU ranking. Um, listen, if you want to see our list, we did this on Letterbox. So if you want to follow us on Letterbox, you can. I'm Zenith on Letterbox. What's your
Letter
Letterbox?
Torrentino.
All right, Torrentino. So yeah, is that the show?
It is. Thank you for listening to the Avengers podcast. If you want to follow us, we're at Avengenerds on Twitter. That's AVENGE nerds, all one word. If you want to follow either one of us, you can reach me at Shonen Torn. And where they can reach you.
They can reach me at it's Zenith _ on Twitter. And I'm probably going to be uploading a bit more to YouTube. I'll probably be like uploading like clips from this podcast and stuff like that. Maybe some solo stuff. I don't know. But you can subscribe there at youtube.com/it's Zenith.
Sounds good. We have a Discord if you'd like to join the conversation there, and that'll be linked to the show notes. Thanks again for listening to the Avengers podcast. We'll see you next week.
This is a long one. 2 hours.
It was a long one. It
2
was a long one.
hours.
I was like, I was thinking to myself, I was like, dang, bro, you're gonna have a lot.
I'm going to be editing for 2 hours.